Welcome to part 3 of making my dress for the Eras Tour. I'm making my first prototype, which starts with cutting out all of the pieces, and I immediately notice an issue. The first piece is cut in the fold, and it has some weird pointy areas because of the way I drew the pattern. So I fixed that piece and proceeded to cut the rest. Then it was time to sew all of the top pieces together. And right off the bat, I noticed another problem. The top was just too wide, and I didn't understand why. And that's when I realized my mistake from part 1. I had added extra room for my seam allowance on the fold when I didn't need to. To fix this temporarily, I just sewed down the middle where I had added that extra seam allowance to get the size that I needed. I sewed the rest of the top, and it was time to move on to the skirt. My skirt pieces were already sewn together, so I started with the channels for the ruching. I did 2 different sizes so I could see if there was one that I preferred. Then I threaded my temporary ribbon through with a safety pin. And I also used 2 different methods to do the ribbon to see if there is one I preferred with this as well. All that was left was to sew the top to the bottom skirt, and then I would have my first prototype. So easy, right? So I started by aligning my seams so that I could pin it all evenly, and this seemed to be going well until it wasn't. I was trying to pin and realized that my top was longer than my skirt. So at a couple of the seams, I increased the seam allowance to 1 inch instead of ½ an inch to bring in some of that fabric. And close enough was gonna have to do for this. I sewed them together and had my first prototype. Check the next video to see how it came out.